Fly, Eagles, fly, or as people have been saying all morning long, cry, Eagles, cry. So let's see what happens with this season. First and foremost, what are you doing with this article that you were writing about? I want to know all about this. What are you covering for the Eagles?
Oh yeah. So it's just with Bet Pennsylvania. I got reached out to from a guy you guys probably know well, with Craig Cummings. They do a terrific job with gambling.com, just blowing up. I think they're trying to cover all 32 NFL teams. So when you need someone to bloviate about the Eagles, where do you go? You go to @NewbieTalks on Twitter, because all I do is talk. You throw me an intro and I don't shut up, Matt. So they asked me naturally, hey, why don't you let us know some Eagles playoff odds? So every week we update that. We do some game previews, and then all season long we're going to be updating their Super Bowl odds. It blows my mind to be talking about the Eagles as like almost co-Super Bowl favorites. But as a Birds fan, Matt and Dave, I know expectations have not been kind to the Philadelphia Eagles when they come into the season with high expectations.
Is that a green screen behind you, or is that the first ever Baby Grand backdrop for BBB?
So look at how nice this house is. I wish this was my house. Okay. This is the stock background. When you come on to StreamYard with a green screen on, it throws this thing behind you, and it just made me be like, shit, I really have a long way to go in my life before I can have a Baby Grand behind me. So thanks a lot, StreamYard. The inferiority complex is real now.
That would have been, I was like, man, that's amazing.
Yeah, you want me to hop back there and tickle the ivories for you? I know little Ray Charles. We can get real crazy, guys.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, wow, he went down to the beach, to the big condo to do the set. I like it. This is great. All right, so we talked about it a little bit last night when we did the show, the cash considerations. But this division hasn't had a repeat winner in a long, long time. And that means that the Eagles aren't even going to win the division. Stop shaking your head, Matt. Stop. Newbie, if it's not the Eagles, and I think it's still going to be the Eagles, who is it going to be in the division, the biggest threat in the NFC East?
Nobody's talking about the Commanders. They're incredible. No, I'm joking. But I will say it does worry me a little bit that the Eagles are such like prohibitive favorites, because like you mentioned, Dave, like it hasn't happened since the Eagles were the team who did it and won back-to-back in the NFC East. And you could say, oh, that's just an anomaly, but the proof is in the pudding. The reason why it doesn't happen every single year is because these teams beat up on each other. And, the biggest thing, think about when the Eagles were undefeated last year. Who did they lose to? A Commanders team who had nothing to play for on a Monday night football game. That's the NFC East in a microcosm. When you think somebody's not going to do it is when they do it. So heading into the season, Dave, I'm not laying any chalk to back the Eagles to win this division. Do they win the division? They likely do, but it's too competitive, and I think there hasn't been enough talk about the strides that some of these other teams have made. It's just been Eagles chalk, Eagles this, Eagles that. Well, since Andy Reid left, there hasn't been back-to-back really strong Eagles performances in really any season. So can Nick Sirianni finally be the guy to do that? I know a lot of people didn't even like Nick Sirianni when he was hired, so we'll see.
03-04, the last time a team went back-to-back in the Super Bowl, and the last time a team went back-to-back in the NFC East.
So you're saying there's a chance. 03-04, 20 years later, 23-24, now it happens, Matt. It's the natural order of things.
Yeah, no. Chiefs aren't winning the Super Bowl. Eagles aren't winning the East. I think that the Cowboys win the East, but
I like that.
Are you concerned at all about the hangover from the Super Bowl loss? Teams that have gone to the big game and lost it the following season have regressed consistently. Not all the time, but historically, it's been a rough season.
I mean, barring injury, it's hard for me to just take that history and say, oh my goodness, it happens to all these teams, so it's going to happen to the Philadelphia Eagles. Because if there's one thing that I think has Birds fans still excited, it's the tenor of Jalen Hurts. Like, this isn't a guy who's a rest on his laurels kind of guy, because if you look at just the trajectory of his career, he's continually been passed over. He's continually had to be the underdog. So even though they made it to the Super Bowl, that's in the rear view. There was a big story about Jalen Hurts having the background of his phone, having him walking off the field when he lost the Super Bowl. So in his mind, nothing has really been accomplished. And it's hard for me to go into a season and say, oh my goodness, they're going to be awful. Now, if Jalen Hurts gets hurt, if the injuries start stacking up for this team, then you might be looking at a potential regression. But as far as just looking at recent history and how other winners have done, I don't think those other winners had a guy with the mental fortitude that Jalen Hurts has under center. So I think that kind of dispels maybe my worries about the historical trends about these Super Bowl losers, at least season long. Week 1, I don't know, Matt. I'm sure we'll talk about that, but I might be buying the hype about Super Bowl losers in week 1.
I was just going to say that right above my head. The show's called Bostonian versus the Book. The Philadelphia Eagles happen to be playing in New England this weekend. Somehow in the later time slot, I still just totally disagree with 2 teams back east playing in a later time slot. It's a whole nother issue.
For Tom.
3.5 or
Brady.
4. It's not for Brady.
It is for Brady. That's who it's for. It's for Tom.
Just dictating the times we play the games.
The new
he's a part owner of the
Delta executive now, Tom Brady.
Delta executive.
You see that? He is. He's actually like they brought him into the company. It's like a Delta executive now.
The quote was that he's going to come inside the company. I think they could have worded that a little bit better, but that was the direct quote.
I don't know who wrote that, but that was I threw me off with that.
He does have 2 baby mamas, so you know
you just can't stop. You just really can't.
3.5, noobs. It's 3.5. The Eagles are favored, and the total's around 45. Let's call it 45. How's this game play out on Sunday?
Well, I think I'm not surprised to start seeing the number drop into 3.5 across the board, because it's some of those spots that, take those bag guys that you like to talk about, Dave. They've been sitting at 3.5. So I'm not shocked to see the market starting to follow in tow. But if that 4 is still out there, honestly, even still getting that hook, Dave, I think this is a field goal game. If the Eagles win, I think you're looking at a live dog at home with the New England Patriots, simply because, as Matt and I were just talking, he was pointing out this hangover for teams the year after they lose the Super Bowl. I don't think that's going to play itself out over the season, but in week 1, look at what they did last year, and they didn't have a hangover last year. They went into Detroit against a Detroit team that, sure, they're the talk of the town now. They surely weren't at the start of the season last year. Everyone was clowning the Eagles for barely beating them. Ended up some late-game heroics that they needed to beat the Lions by a field goal. Now you're giving points to Bill Belichick after he's had to listen to people for 2 years say that he's washed as a head coach. He's this, he's that. That defense for the Patriots also was a solid unit last year. They add Christian Gonzalez. I think they've gotten even better defensively. And you're looking at an Eagles team who didn't really play much in the preseason. Same thing as last year. I think there may be some growing pains or a little bit of rust to shake off. I think probably they end up still getting their points. But if the Patriots can get their points, like it's the math equation. If the Patriots get to around, might be a taller, but I think even 17 points for the Patriots. That keeps this at a 3-point game. I would have it around 2017 if the Eagles win. If the Patriots get the ball last, they have some late game heroics. Who knows? But I'm certainly not laying 4 to start off the season, Dave. And I'm not laying 3.5 either.
I didn't see this coming.
And Dave, you should know this.
I want a Randall and everything. I want a Randall playing for you.
Dave. You should know this. You should know this.
I waved the flag. I did all of it. I tried, Dave.
But you should know this. Bill Belichick and his longtime girlfriend just broke up.
Ooh, revenge game.
This is big news.
This is revenge.
Longtime girlfriend just broke up. So the Daily Mail reported this morning that they have broken up. So every Patriot fan is like, I get a pissed off, focused Belichick all year. Let's go.
That's not good for us. That's and now he's gonna you guys. Everyone who's a football fan has seen The Water Boy. So basically, he's gonna have his players picturing. He's always like visualize. It's just gonna be his ex-girlfriend when Bill Belichick looks across the sideline. That's what he's gonna see on Nick Sirianni's head, and he's gonna be like, "Why did you do me like that?" So yeah, a great motivator, a good underdog coach at home in week 1. Growing pains. Man, I just
it's my favorite. It's my favorite. It's my favorite team.
You're frozen. Snap your fingers. Me and Newbie are good. Look,
is our show now?
Yeah,
it's because he was about to talk about Teaser's Paradise, Dave. He was about to tell us to tease him up.
It's my favorite teaser leg of the week. Is Patriots +10.
Well, whatever you do, don't tell that to Twitter, though, because then they'll say, you're doing a non-Wong teaser, Matt Peralt. What is wrong with you?
I love Wong teasers, but I'm still going to, I mean, if you give me 2.5, it'll qualify for a Wong teaser, and let's go. I mean, let's go.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you, Matt. And I say it as kind of, a tongue-in-cheek point that all these people are so obsessed with being sharp bettors all the time that they leave so many winning tickets out there. Like, we think this team is live at 4, so you're telling me it's a bad bet to pair it with a traditional teaser leg like a Steelers, take them up. Maybe even a Browns as a home dog, you take them up. If you like the Jets, you take them up. So you do have a traditional leg in those senses. And you're telling me there's not value on Belichick plus 10? These people get way too caught up on this Stanford Wong stuff. If it's a winning ticket, it's a winning ticket.
I bet Wong teasers all the time, but Wong teasers. Of course. But the problem is that if you're going to do a Wong teaser, the Twitter world doesn't work. The content space doesn't work because if you're going to do it, a Wong teaser is an hour before kickoff. So you have to go ahead and watch the line move, and the line always moves, as you guys and Dave knows, everyone knows. The line can move a lot based upon what the bad guys come in and bet late as to what they can get down from a money perspective. So I love when I hear content people talk about Wong teasers. Unless you're doing a live show like right before kickoff, it doesn't really make any sense to do Wong teasers or give it out, because you're not inside the window that the Wong teaser methodology came from. So I'm with you.
It's a dong teaser. If you're giving out a Wong before post, it's a dong.
That's a good nickname. I like that.
Yeah,
that works.
Sometimes Wong is Wong too. Like, you have to know that.
Sometimes
Wong is Wong.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And think about also, guys, because of how popular the Stanford Wong teaser has been, think about how just horrible they were to start the year. It wasn't about till 3/4 of the way through the year until those Wong teasers started being profitable again, because for whatever reason, just last year, maybe it was an anomaly. Maybe we'll see that, regress back to the mean. But last year, advantage Stanford Wong teasers were horrible to start the NFL year.
Blowouts all over I mean, we didn't have 1-score games or even 2-score games. We had blowouts consistently. The teams were covering big numbers, and you weren't able to use the Wong teaser because they'd win by 14 points and you'd be dead. Anything like that, it happens on either side, it crushes you. So
guys in the chat just came in and said Wong is Wong, Dong and Newbie are right. I mean,
I like
two
that.
Wongs, Wong Wang is still our favorite name of anybody in the contest.
We got a guy in the contest. 2 Wongs. Yeah, what is it? 2 Wongs, 1 Wang.
2 Wongs, 1 Wang.
Genius. That's their names, Noob.
That's their names.
That's pretty brilliant.
Of the 3 guys who have a team together.
That's a great law firm name as well. Wong, Wong, and Wang. We'll beat any case that you have.
That's great. Jalen Hurts for MVP. Could you buy it?
I don't hate it. I think there's some other names up there that I like a little bit better. Here's the problem: is he did everything he needed to do last year to win the MVP, except not get hurt. If he doesn't get injured in that Bears game, you probably do see him as the MVP. They had to give it to Pat Mahomes after that happened. Once you miss games, you're already fighting an uphill battle. And I think that's what got Jalen Hurts. I think he 1,000% could have an MVP season. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like because the secret's kind of out, he would need to have some insane video game type numbers to get that MVP nod. So, I think, unproven commodities. I know there's a hot ticket that people like talking about, like Justin Fields. I don't think they're going to win enough games to get him. I think he's going to be a great fantasy player for DFS players, for people betting props. I think the value is going to dry up pretty quickly on him. But as far as MVP, yes, I could buy in on Hurts. Do I think I'm going to hold the ticket? No, partially because anytime I bet anyone to win the MVP from Philadelphia, they don't lose it. The one time I had a winning ticket, Matt, it was when the Phillies sucked. I had Bryce Harper to win the MVP before the season. Phillies sucked, so I was like, there's no way he's going to win. I cashed it out for pennies on the dollar in the middle of the season. He goes on and wins the MVP. I swore to myself, Matt, I would never bet an MVP bet again, and I've stayed true to it.
Did you bet Embiid last year?
No, of course I didn't, because I bet him every other year and he didn't win it. So when I was like, fuck this, I'm done wasting all my money on betting Embiid bets and losing them, that's the year that he won. So it's the curse that I have. It's my cross to bear, man.
Can you reach out to him real quick and ask him how he feels about that? Noobs, can you
let me see.
See if you can get Joel.
I'm seeing it on Slack. Let me. He is.
Can you get him?
Yo, guys, you brought me back on Bostonian versus the book. The only reason I won MVP is because I knew that schmuck newbie didn't bet me. What a clown, baby. But you want to talk about clowns? It's the entire Sixers organization. Get me the hell out of here, Dave. I'm sick of this shit. Thanks, Joel. Go home.
Thanks for joining in, Joe.
Thanks for being here.
It was nice of him.
Wow. Speaking of the Sixers,
Oh,
how big of a dumpster fire are you guys?
God.
I mean, what is going on with the Sixers?
We weren't supposed to bring this up. This wasn't in the notes, Noob. I'm sorry.
It's just too fun because I mean, you guys could have drafted Jason Tatum and you didn't, and you wind up getting yourself a player that you couldn't stand. Ben Simmons is playing in Brooklyn. He's gone. Harden goes over to China and rips the hell out of your team, and now Joel Embiid's not sure he wants to be there
It's
anymore.
football season.
It is and it isn't. It's just something to point out. Like, what is going on with the Sixers?
Well, out of respect to my therapist who told me not to talk about the Sixers anymore, I don't have much to say on this end. But I will say, I mean, I've been out on the Sixers since last season. On cash considerations, Dave made me play the Sixers song, which used to be my favorite song. Now it's fingernails on a chalkboard to me, Matt. Like, I can't do it with this team. I can't do it with this organization. And I'm on Harden's side. I'm on anybody who wants to leave this dumpster fire that is an organization that keeps giving, it keeps giving the rope to this absolute joke of a GM. I think, the proof is in the pudding, man. Players don't like this guy. Think about how many times he's trying to land big names and the relationships just sour so quickly. Bring Sam Hinkie back. I want another process. I'm sick of this, Matt.
All right. Got to get you out of here. So I'll ask, this will be my last one. You're wearing that lacrosse hat, aren't you?
Say the name.
Look at the back. The back has like the where is it? The purple PLL logo. It's a tough hat, man.
Yeah. But how do you say that? Hold on. How do you say that? What's on your head?
The water dogs.
The what?
Water dogs. Like he says
water dogs.
Okay.
WATER dogs. All one word.
Dave loves to say that I say over the and I say under the because my Boston accent comes through.
Right.
The Philly accent's very interesting for the word water. And it was when I was in college, it was a very funny thing whenever someone would say the word water and it would be a Wawa.
Use dickheads. No, we got to get some water ice down the street. Grab a little
water.
crunchy pie.
I got to go get some water at Wawa. And I would go, what are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You're literally, did you just have a stroke? Like what? Water at Wawa? What?
But they didn't get the water out of a bubbler. I can tell you that right now.
That's true. That's ours. That's a New England thing. That is a bubbler is ours. There's two types of bubblers. One you smoke out of, the other you drink out of.
Right. Well, neither one's being talked about right now. Noobs, what's the deal with the lacrosse? You got semifinals, finals. You've been smoking hot with the lacrosse. You got interesting takes. Gambling Twitter hates you because you talk about betting on lacrosse and all this other stuff.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, believe me, the gatekeepers are very upset with.
They're not happy. They're not happy talking about this stuff.
People are betting on mini golf. What are we doing?
You're right.
People are mad about lacrosse. What are we doing?
Kids like the lacrosse. It's actually an entertaining sport.
I love
Noobs,
lacrosse.
is there any bets? Anything coming up this weekend you want to mention?
Yeah, so semifinals are this weekend on Long Island. It's going to be going toe-to-toe against the NFL on Sunday. I don't know what they were thinking about with that schedule making. They were smart going with the quarterfinals were all day long Labor Day. Did great numbers on that. But it's Redwoods, Archers, it's Water Dogs, and Cannons. I think we're looking at a reality where it's chalk. Archers, what's up?
Who is Boston playing?
Well, Boston is essentially the Cannons.
I know.
Cannons are Boston. They're playing the Water Dogs.
Are from?
So the way that it's set up, none of them actually have like cities assigned to them. They're assigning cities. It's like a travel-based model. So they're in a different place every weekend. So it's just like different clubs. But the original Boston Cannons were in the MLL. None of these teams have cities yet. They're going to get
so cities, the Water Dogs aren't from Philadelphia. Because I'm wondering, is Boston and Philadelphia playing 2 times this weekend?
No.
It won't surprise me if when they assign cities, if the Water Dogs are assigned to Philadelphia, because they have a lot of players that are from the Philly area. So it wouldn't shock me at all. So yeah, it's kind of like a Boston Philly action. And do we just do a Cannons and we parlay it with the Patriots?
Let's go.
Because
No,
because the Cannons are winning this game. Like I think the Cannons and the Archers are on a collision course. So I think the best way to bet this, there's actually some nice plus money prices if you go to FanDuel. You can take Archers to defeat Cannons. It's like plus 550 in the championship game.
Oh, okay.
Get that ticket because if they both win, Cannons are going to be dogs. Lock yourself in on a profit. Archers beat the Redwoods. Cannons make it to the finals. Archers, Cannons plus 550. That's the way to bet it.
All right. Newbie, this was a lot of fun, my friend. We'll do it again soon, all right?
I love coming on with you guys. BVB, Mafia, out. Love you guys.
Take care. That is one Mr. Dan Alexander joining us. Ooh, sorry. I'll put him back on. Put him on and off. Let me do a little
switch it.